Hello guys, welcome to Global Happenings today. Compliment of the season to you all. Alright, we have a trending news here for you, and the headline of the news read: C5 world leaders who are aware of Igbo group seeking independence. Donald Trump topped the list. But before we continue with details of the news and further analysis, we'd like to encourage you to please subscribe to our channel by clicking on the red subscribe button and also on the bell icon so that you can get notification anytime we publish videos on YouTube.
A topmost analyst on CNN, Dr. Nwagwo, who also doubles as Sky News and the founder and publisher of the first African-owned US-based newspaper on the internet, USAAfricaOnline.com, has revealed in his piece how the pro-Biafran war-organized agitation has received attention of the world leaders. Among the world leaders he mentioned in his piece are US President Mr. Donald Trump, Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israeli Prime Minister, Terrorism, the British Prime Minister, and many other world leaders. According to him, Buhari's government detention and refusal to respect lawful orders of the court for almost 2 years regarding the release and granting of bail escalated Kanu's profile globally. It sharpened the contrast with implications on the attention the Biafran agitation has received. As a result of the well-organized agitation, he said the movement is well-organized and second to none on the African continent, as the Kanu-led IPOB and its affiliates distributes information, mobilize supporters across the world, which speaks volumes for the attention it has received from world leaders. He said, fifth, Kanu-led IPOB and its affiliates distribute information and mobilize across more cities in the world, more than any other Nigerian or African organization. USA Africa News Index, January 2014 to April 2017, also shows that the Pope Francis, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Bebe Netanyahu, and the US President Donald Trump know. The British Prime Minister Theresa May and many world leaders are at least aware of the activism and agenda.
All right, thank you very much. This is actually true. When we're looking at some secessionist groups in the world, I think IPOB have a very, very strong structure, which most persons have really commend them. Number one thing that is most commended by most persons, especially about IPOB, is the fact that they, for as long as now, they have not been involved in any form of violence, except fairly recently when they had to beat up Ike Kweremadu. And the reasons that they gave was that, hey, these guys were involved in making life unbearable for Nigerians. And since Nigerians do not have a very reasonable and possibly also a good avenue to, protest against these guys, that's the leaders. They're leaders who are not making life governable for them, that they have to be beating politicians whom they perceive that they are corrupt. I think that's the first time that they started the issue of being a little bit violent and all of that. But when it comes to unity and oneness, it's really superb. No wonder most persons were of the opinion that if there is a coming together of IPOB and also some human rights activists, the likes of Deji Adeyanju, if they can work as a formidable force, they will help to a kind of tame the government greed over carrying out certain things, kind of checkmate the government. Because one of the, when we're growing up days in secondary school, there's pressure group, and they are just there to checkmate the government. They are there to tell, hey, you don't have to go that far. It was supposed to be, the legal watchdog, which is the legislature. But right now, our legislature are even talking about aligning with the government, that's with executive, so that they can carry out proposal, carry out their intent, which oftentimes may not really be for the best interest of the people. So this IPOB is one organized. They are overly organized, though they have been termed in Nigeria as a terrorist group, or proscribed as a terrorist group. Well, so many people are still of that opinion that it should be cancelled, because there's nothing they are doing that should make them be called a terrorist group. Well, that is left to the government. That decision is left to the government to decide. But talking about their awareness, the level of awareness that they have created thus far, we've heard they've gone to UN, we've heard they've gone to, they've attempted meeting with the United States of American president. We've seen them in, I think, CNN. At one time, I saw one of the radio stations in America. I saw Mazi Namikano he was being interviewed, where he had to air his grievances on how the Southeasterners have been marginalized thus far, and they want to opt out of Nigeria, want to be an independent country of their own, and all of that. But the truth remains that they have been overly, very organized. They have been overly organized, and they have been working rightly and all of that. So I don't know. What do you have to say about this?
Well, I'm not in shock. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, alongside with his people, IPOB members, they have done their homework quite well. I must commend them. Even before this whole thing began, you would always agree with me that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has not relented in his push, as he has gone to several countries. Though at the beginning, most of the time, whenever they go for their United States trip, Donald Trump hadn't actually voiced out as at then, but it clearly showed that it's not unknown to Donald Trump. Finally, he has spoken, but the truth of the matter is to tell you how far IPOB have gone. An American citizen that I got to know really said something quite unique, and she went down to social media handle and said, "Look, guys, if you know you are an Igbo," and there's one of this during the census that took place in the United States, I think in Dallas, Texas, or Houston, I can't remember the exact place now, where they were doing census in the state. So some of these guys, they came in, the immigration guys, they came in asking her questions with their tabs and all that. So they now asked her country of birth, country where you're a resident from, to Nigeria. And she just tried her luck. She said Biafra. She was surprised. They imputed Biafra. There was a space for country called Biafra. And when they were done, she answered all the necessary questions. She was like, do you have a problem with the Biafra? I said, no, we don't have a problem with Biafra. It's done. Thank you very much for your time. And they left. She screamed. She couldn't hold her excitement as she admonished all her people from her tribe, all the people from the Igbo speaking, and those who identify with Biafra to go ahead and not mention Nigeria. She mentioned Biafra because United States have gotten a space called Biafra in their organogram. And I was so surprised, really. I knew that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu of them, but the Americans are always really never very quick to respond. But when they do, they actually give their full force. I also believe that these whole incidences that have been happening for the past few weeks now has also brought great advantage actually to the agitation for Biafra. That clearly means also that the reason why these guys are fighting for Biafra is not because of their selfish interest, and they have been monitoring very closely to find out why they were proscribed. Are they really a terrorist group, as one said? Don't forget that Fulani herdsmen, though not proscribed in Nigeria, but has been tagged as one of the most, not the terrible, but one of the most terrible terrorist group in the world, which means that even if you don't tag them, all the menaces they cause, the world is watching. Really, wherever they go, they kill, they maim, and they rape. The world is watching. So even if you don't prescribe them, the world itself has prescribed them as a terrorist group. So they're also watching the so-called IPOB that have been prescribed as a terrorist group. How many people have they killed? When they go for the agitation, how many people have they raped? Are they gun-carrying members? And they also realize that even when they beat the leaders, acclaimed leaders, they have their reasons for beating them, and they don't even carry guns to shoot them or carry harmful equipment. Worst case scenario, probably pallets and to use to be worst case scenario really. But they found out that the reason why, and each time they even get to meet the security agencies of such countries, they will always say it. So these guys have been very corrupt, and the whole world knows the level of corruption Nigeria has. They know that we have corruption. In fact, they call us fantastically corrupt. Do you understand? To tell you how bad it is. So if for any reason IPOB beats corrupt leaders, they have an idea that it's not a lie. This is not politically generated. It's a case of reality meeting reality, and not propaganda meeting reality here.
All right, thank you very much. That's where we're going to leave it.